Okay, does everybody have the text up? Okay, so like I said, I emailed it to earlier today. So we read through most of this yesterday, so we're going to read through it today again. And then we will do the synopsis. Do you remember what a synopsis is? Raise your hand. Actually, Michael Newberry looked it up yesterday. Do you remember what you looked up, Mr. Michael Newberry?
It's a short summary of a...
Sit back, Mr. Newberry. Again, say that for me again.
A short summary...
Stand and deliver. Remember, we have Senate rules. When you are answering a question, you stand and take the floor.
A short memory... No, summarization of a what you read.
Okay, a short summarization of what you've read. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So basically, after we've understood what this entire thing means, you're going to take 2 or 3 sentences and say this is what the song means. And so we've already researched all the crazy Brit folks. There's a few words in here we may have to define as we're going along. So let's start from the beginning. We read almost all of it except for the third phrase. So who would like to start to read this in a dramatic manner? Maggie, give it to me.
Which one?
Start from the very beginning. We'll recap.
What the court had old England of folly and sin.
Good. What a court hath old England of folly and sin. So what did we say that meant yesterday?
I don't have...
I may have forgotten you, so come over and sit over here so you can just read off the board. And actually, there is a plug back there if you still want to plug in your thing. So what did we say that meant yesterday, Mr. Brady?
It was a court of the England called
Yeah, so the court is, what is the court of England?
the government.
It's basically the royal government. And so they're crazy
Yeah.
because they want to take all our money as the colonists. Okay, the next line, Brady, read this to me in a dramatic fashion if you would.
Spite of Chatham and Camden, Bar, Berks, Wilkes, England.
Good. And so who were those folks? We researched those folks last week. Faith, darling, in your peachy self today. It's a very nice color. So who were those dudes? You don't remember those dudes? But that was the point of researching them. Which dude of those did you research?
Bar.
And who was Mr. Barr?
He was
If you can actually open the other document because it's all still there in the Google Docs. No, I'm going to torture her until she gets it.
So the question is, what was Bar?
Who was Barr?
Who was Bar? When first there's wells.
Didn't you say once before that he was a belted Scottish knight or something like that?
That was mine.
Oh, that was yours. And who was yours? Glenn.
This thing is taking forever.
Okay, so while you're coming up, so give me who these dudes were. Anybody? Mr. Shore.
Kings or something.
No, kings is a bit too much.
Prince.
Yes, Colby, I see the one eyebrow up like, I may have the answer for this. They were British lords. They were in the House of Lords.
One of them was an Irishman.
And one was an Irishman, and Mr. Glenn was a Scotsman. He was a belted knight. So yes, they were lords of this. So England, Great Britain, is made up of several smaller countries and a bunch of little fiefdoms, which are little governments that are all bound together. So the House of Lords is a combination of all these earls and dukes. And so these dudes, Chatham, Camden, Barr, Burke, Wilkes, and Glynn, were all thought it was unjust how they were asking for too much tax from the revolutionary America. Yes?
You didn't send it to Marshall.
Pardon me?
You didn't send it to Marshall.
Actually, I tried to put your email in there, and it didn't come up.
So you have to put my email?
Yes, because I don't have your email, and I put Marshall in, and your name didn't come up.
That's probably because his Gmail wasn't there yet.
That's why I said he didn't get to it. So that's why it's up on the board for those who you didn't get it. And who actually added an extra space in here?
No, I think a bar got removed.
Somebody, oops.
That's like a whole other bar.
That was not like that before. That was
Okay,
together.
well,
That
I
was
know.
that was together.
Oh, then it must have backed out on me. Oops. Yeah, Grace and he must have backed out.
I put you on mine, so I don't do that.
Yeah, I'm the one to do that because I like put my arms right here and I must have clicked it.
There you go.
Yeah,
So stop erasing things.
I tell
Okay, okay, good. So the next sentence, since you erased it and didn't want to say it, you're the one who gets to read it.
Okay. Which one? Oh, okay, mine's still loaded. It's still the same.
And Faith, would you like to read it?
No, I'm saying, okay, so a friendly holds up.
Okay.
Mr. G.
And Bar was an Irish soldier.
Oh yeah, it still doesn't have the.
One at a time. Faith has the floor. Who was your dude?
Was Bar
Bar.
was an Irish soldier.
He was an Irish soldier. So he might have been part of the House of Commons rather than the Irish, unless he was a duke. Yes, Brady.
There's a line missing on
Yeah,
that.
it's still.
It's,
not content with the Game Act.
Did you like really just like erase a bunch of stuff?
I don't know.
Here,
As it was here before. Okay, where does it belong? Give it to me, Mr. Is it right here?
it goes between the Spike Canton and American Dreads.
Content with the Game Act.
They
Comma.
tax
They tax fish and sea. Yeah, so stop erasing things, crazy people.
Mine's still not loaded.
mine's
still loading.
Okay, I don't need to hear that. Okay, when I ask you a question, and if it'll load slowly because there's a lot of people in the room. There's a lot of computers in the room. So go. So the next one is not content with the Game Act. They tax fish and sea. What did we say that was yesterday? Do you remember what the Game Act was? Think Robin Hood.
Oh, Robin Hood.
Yes, Mr. Brady.
It's if you shoot something on the king's land.
The king's land or anybody else's lord's land or anything.
Yeah, and you will
You'll be punished, okay?
Yes.
So the Game Act is you can't kill anybody on anybody else's land. So basically they said that they limited hunting, fishing, and anything you got from the sea without that they had to tax it. Okay, yes. So going on to the next line. And America drenched with hot water and tea.
They're down.
So that's the whole business about the Boston Tea Party. Okay, dare down is just sort of a rhythmic sort of chant that the Irish would have used because remember this was an old Irish song. Okay, the next line, please, who would like to read? Maddie, I see that smiling face. You would like to read in a dramatic fashion.
There's no knowing where the obsession will stop.
Obsession or oppression?
What? Oh.
Yes. I didn't realize that the king was obsessed with the colonies. He may well have been. Okay, so it again.
There's no knowing where the oppression will stop.
Good. And it is Old English, so remember, this is the original text from 1770s, so it is not in a way that we're used to hearing. Okay? And some of the words are sort of crazy. So, there's no knowing where this oppression will stop. Some say there's no cure but a capital chop. And what was the capital chop? Marshall.
They basically separate the king and chop up.
Yes, so there was nothing left to do except to separate the colonies from England, capital chop, and it implies that you should chop the king's head. And then I'll go on, and that I believes each American's wish. Okay, stop putting your cursor on Everett. Okay, and that I believes each American's wish, and what's each American's wish?
What?
Freedom.
To separate from the crown, correct? So,
Just
Put it
school
live. This
down.
is 5th grade.
School down.
That's what people said.
School down.
okay, stop.
I didn't do anything. I know that happened to me. I just schooled down.
Did you find it? Actually, just close them. You can read it off here. If it's not booting, just close yours and read it off the board. Yes, you can come sit next to Mr.
Oh, yes. Go down.
Faith.
What did I say?
Those are the kind of comments I don't need to hear those between everything when we're trying to teach. Okay? Those are the discussion okay? So, can everybody see it? Good. Make sure that actually open them, let them turn on, because remember you're gonna start your synopsis when I finish reading this. I'll just keep on going. Brady, leave your cute little cursor off my mitts. I just saw the name come up. Okay, and that I believe's each American's wish, and the wish was, what was each American's wish?
Separate from the
Separate from the ground. Okay, and then since you've drenched them with tea and deprived them of fish, so that's again relating. Lainey, please just go sit in purgatory. Even if it had to do with the computers. Thank you.
I was just showing her how to fix it.
Okay, good. Since you drenched them with tea and deprived them of fish, again that goes to the Game Act and all the taxes they were putting on all the fish things. They were down, hey, they were down. Good. The last verse we did not get to yesterday. I will just read it. Then freedom's the word both at home and abroad. What does the word abroad mean? That's why I put it in bold, because I figured you might not know it.
I'm guessing Guadeloupe.
No, abroad.
Can I look it up?
A lot of people.
A lot of people know. Okay, a couple more guesses. Okay, who's going to be the fastest on Google?
I'm already there.
Drum roll, please.
Got it.
Do you have it abroad?
Got it.
Delilah, do you have it? I need a yes or a no, please.
Yes.
Yes, then stand and read it for me. What is abroad?
That's okay enough to do it.
Yes, what's the definition of abroad?
In or to a foreign country or country.
So in or to a foreign country. So at home would be in the colonies, because they're the colonists singing, or abroad, there are people in England and in other countries that that also support the effort of the colonists to be free. Okay? And every scabbard, know that word? Feverishly typing, scabbard. Scabbard, S-C-A-B-B-A-R-D.
Scabbard.
Scabbard. Scabbard.
Cheater, I got it.
Got it.
Ladies, the hand went up first. And lady wins. Stand and tell us what it is.
Okay, let me scroll down real quick.
Scrolling.
Scabbard
Scabbard.
with a beer.
With two B's.
Okay, wrong one. Got it.
S-C-A-B-B-A-R-D. Actually, somebody else's hand went up first.
It was Brady.
Brady's hand.
I got it. Ace.
So do I.
Sheath. A sheath for a blade or a sword or dagger, typically made for leather or metal.
Okay, so what is a sheath? You can't define one word if you don't understand the word sheath.
Sheath for.
What is a sheath? Do you know what a sheath is?
Like,
Close fitting cover for something, especially something.
a sheath is a
heavy
Listen, she was giving it to you.
in shape in particular.
Okay, say that a little bit louder.
A close fitting cover for something, especially something that is acknowledged in shape in particular.
Good. A close-fitting cover. You have a scabbard or a sheath, so that particularly for knives, so you don't cut yourself. So like it drives me crazy when I watch the Vikings and all those shows, because I love those shows, and they take their swords and they put them in their belt, and it's like, you would have just cut your belt, dude.
Yeah.
Your pants would fall down, your sword would fall to the ground. So if you don't have a sheath, whatever you put your thing in, it's gonna cut the belt. So the scabbard is what they put their sword in so that they wouldn't hurt themselves. Because I could be walking around, I'd turn real fast, and Mr. Kutcher would lose his head.
Cool.
The capital chop for Mr. Kutcher. So these are why. So this is the point of looking up all these words, so that when you're singing a song, you know what you're singing about. Because you could be like, you could be a little bit more violent with the scabbard. So the third verse is actually sort of mean. And every scabbard that hides a good sword. So we're gonna really fight. So every scabbard that we have, we're gonna use to go get them. So our forefathers. What is forefathers? Brady.
a particular of. I said that wrong.
Colby, keep your mitts off the file.
Can we just type?
No more collecting.
Why is it there now?
Yeah, okay, pronunciation on a word? Let me see, young man.
How do you spell it?
I can't read upside down and I'm blind. You have to
You
open
say it. You say it.
A member of the past generations of one's family or people, an ancestor, a precursor of a particular movement. So, forefather is one of your ancestors. What's an ancestor? Yes?
The people, person in your family that live long ago.
Yes, somebody from your family's past. Okay? So, forefathers. So, talking about the people that brought them to the colonies. Our forefathers gave us this freedom in hand. So, that would be who? Who was on the Mayflower?
Who was it?
I just saw okay?
Pilgrims.
The Pilgrims, because they came for
Religious freedom.
religious freedom. So there you go. So all these years later, this is the 1770s when this text was written, our forefathers gave us this freedom in hand. So they came to this country so they could be free. And we'll die in defense of the rights of this land. I don't know why I got Scottish all of a sudden. It's like I watched Braveheart the other day. And I'll die in the defense of the rights of this land. So they're willing to fight. So it's a call to arms. Do you know what a call to arms is? So your phone cellmates say, dude, get your arms and come on over. No, call to arms is a call to battle. So arms meaning firearms. Arms are also swords, catapults, all sorts of crazy things. So this song is a protest song written in the 1770s that they changed the words to another song because they were really unhappy what was going on. So what were they finding, or what's the big themes of the song? What did their forefathers? Separating from the court. Which means, what's another word that they had later in the song?
Chopped his head off.
Chopped his head off, okay?
Would be head.
That would be separating his head, but okay. What else do they have?
Forefathers.
Forefathers, what did they give us?
Religious freedom.
Tanner.
Freedom. Thank you, Olivia, even though you're not in this class, thank you. Okay, so we have, they want to be free from England, they want to have their freedoms, and they don't want to be taxed so much. Mr. Shore, you can go back to your seat. So, since we're already out of time today, tomorrow when we come back, or later in your class if you have free time, this is when you'll write your synopsis.
We never do free time.
Okay, so then tomorrow when you come in, sit, open. It doesn't matter if you load, because you can just, or do you actually have to be on to get a Google Doc? Can you open a doc on your Chromebooks without being online?
No. You can't open it, but you can edit when you're offline.
Okay, so then make sure that you have something on your Chromebook that you can just, I don't want you to edit, but just have a doc that you can open and you're going to type your synopsis when you come in here tomorrow. Marshall, what are you working on and what are you listening to? What are you listening to? Then why are those in your ear? Okay, so tomorrow you'll write your synopsis. It'll be between 2 and 3 sentences. You will not work together, since all of you know what this means now. Just take your time. It will have good grammar. It will have short sentences, and it will not have run-on sentences, like I speak in most of the time. So give me clear things, and don't put any words you don't understand. If you drag and drop something, you will get an yes. If you do look up something else than what we've discussed today, you will
Pass.
you will cite where you got the information. So you'll drag and drop the URL of the website so that I can check and say, oh yeah, that's where you got the information. Okay? So even the 6th graders the other day did not do that, except for Miss Sophia. So remember, from now on, if you get some sort of information from a website, a book or anything, you have to reference it in your work. Or it's plagiarism, which is cheating, which means you fail.
Dr. Smith, did you know that certain people can go to jail, or like people can go to jail for plagiarism?
I don't know about that, but you can be fined and sued. Yes, Marshall.
I couldn't get on Gmail, so.
Okay. We'll make an allowance since you're new and you don't have a thing yet. But we'll somehow, if they get your account set up, I'll ask Mrs. Russell.
It's set up.
Make your mother. Okay, so we will get it to you somehow, even if I print a copy, and actually I'll do that. I'm just going to print a copy of this, and when you're on your way back to your classroom, I will print it in the office.
I can pick it up.
I will print, for those of you who actually like hard copies, I will print 7 copies, because there are some of you I don't really like to read off a computer screen. So there'll be 7 copies in the office. in Mrs. Cole's office, walk by and just take it from the printer. You may get in line and go. Do not run. Do not. I saw you try to run. Okay. Get in line. No. And when you go back to your class, yes. And so just bring it before you go to art. Just put it on in your room, okay? And then divvy them up later. Who else goes? Mr. Newberry, thank you. Mr. Newberry's fingers were not quite as fast as yesterday's. You were on that. What did you look up so fast yesterday? Synopsis. Synapse. Actually, that's not such a bad mistake. Synapse is the connections in your brain
I had the word
with an
up.
A instead of a synopsis. Okay, good. Let's. No, you may not sit there. You have to, it's band time. You have to sit in your band place.
Woody, I got your chair.